Let's grill her. Alright, so, Eldove says, Holga, I've been speaking to your boyfriend over at the theater of Mystic Celebration.
At the mention of her boyfriend, like, she sits bolt upright in her chair. Like, defiant, almost. But doesn't interrupt.
What? I reach into my pocket and
Okay.
let's see if we can make this a little bit more extreme. I pull out the harp string and put it on the table.
When she sees the harp string, she stands up very quickly and throws the chair backwards, and it clatters to the ground. And she immediately turns to leave the room. But Armax is blocking the way. And when Armax sees this reaction to the harp string, she moves in front of the door and holds her hands out. Says, Holga, what's the meaning of this? And Holga turns back around to you, and you see her face is terrified now.
I say, Holga, your boyfriend told us everything. It's time to come clean and tell us about your companions. And perhaps we can keep...
She says, he couldn't have told you everything. He doesn't know everything.
Then why don't you tell us what he doesn't know?
She turns back to Lady Armax. Lady Armax, there's a misunderstanding. This man is here to harm us. And she begins pleading with Armax to, basically to turn against you.
Well, fuck that, I brought Armax an octopus. I think we're pretty tight.
And Armax, like, Holga is all, like, borderline hysterical, and Armax is not really sure what to make of it. Like, she recognizes the golden harp string on the table, and she sees that it's getting a very extreme reaction out of her student. But Armax is letting you kind of take control of the situation. Like, she's looking to you for direction. Like, there's very clearly something here.
I say, Holga. Well, Armax is clearly looking to me. Like, does Holga know that she's not gonna convince Armax to...
Holga is looking back and forth kind of frantically. Like, she's pleading with Armax to let her go. Like, this is a big misunderstanding. Clearly this man, has evil designs on the castle. We have to go warn her Lady Mayor right now. And Armax is not buying it.
I say... Okay, go ahead.
And she just keeps motioning that, Holga, maybe you should sit down and listen to the man's questions.
Is the guard still outside?
No.
The one that brought Armax? No. Or Holga?
No. The guard... did I say a guard came with her?
Yeah.
No, because the guard would have just given her the message and she would have come down.
Okay.
So no, there were no guards out there. Armax brought you downstairs through the stairways, or through the hallways of the basement floor.
Alright, I say, Holga, you were saying that your boyfriend doesn't know everything. What is it exactly that he doesn't know? Because as it stands right now, you and him both look complicit in the murder of the king.
And she stops pleading when she hears that, and her face goes white. Like, she's already looked terrified. Now, like, it looks like she's way deeper into this situation than she wanted to be. And she starts stammering something out, but she's trying to form a sentence or an excuse, but she can't get it out of her head.
Wow, I'm getting really nervous every single time you roll a die at this point. Like, I have a feeling that this is like, you roll a 20 and then Holga casts a fucking fireball on my face.
So what do you do?
Alright. I'm going to say, Hulk to Armax.
Mm-hmm.
Armax, it might be best if we restrain Holga here and go get some guards.
Give me 1 second. I gotta look up I don't have Armax's spell list here either. Like, I probably do, but it's a first edition spell list, so fuck that.
Monsters floating, go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Damn, that was a 1. Armax speaks some magic words and makes a motion, and you see Holga, immediately her muscles lock up.
Hold the person.
And she falls over onto the ground, paralyzed. Armax says, let's get her over onto the bed.
Alright.
And the two of you
lift her up.
Pick her up, move her over onto the bed. And Armax begins to relax the spell. And Armax, you see she's completely convinced that, like, she was very suspicious a few moments ago, but given the actions of her student, like, you've managed to very much convince her that something was very wrong here.
I say to Armax, do you mind if I cast a spell on her to tell us whatever she knows?
She says, what manner of spell?
A compulsion.
Like, what spell? Compulsion?
It's literally compulsion. That is the name.
What does that spell do? And is it on
Creatures of your choice must make a wisdom saving throw. A target succeeds if they can't be charmed until the spell ends.
Okay. Give me a second.
Oh wait, no, they just have to move. Never mind.
I accidentally turned my TV off because I'm an idiot.
That's useless anyway. That's not going to do us any good.
Well, doesn't the TV have the it's a board on there, the tabletop?
It does, which is why I have to get it back on.
So, Nodal, to answer your question, yes, it is vitally important that the TV remain on.
There we go. Okay. HDMI 1, we're back.
Never mind, by the way. That's not going to do us any good.
It's not going to do anything? Okay.
I might as well just try to get as much information as I can out of her while she's here. Because, like, she's clearly fucked. Like, maybe she'll be willing to give up at least a little bit of information.
And Armax tells her, she says, you should probably give Eldove all the information you have. She says, it will only go poorly for you if you hold anything back or try to lie. She says, let's start with this golden harp string. And I have to look up something here. Hold on 1 second.
How many hats, right?
How many hats she's wearing?
Yes.
Oh, Holga carries a set of 6 darts. Well, fuck.
You guys are boned.
And she weighs 105 pounds.
Wait, what?
Just looking at her stat block here.
And she has a hat.
She's not casting those 6 darts while she's held person, I tell you what.
No, she's not doing anything laying here.
Clearly a haberdasher in his spare time.
And Holga looks at you. Says, if I tell you anything, you have to promise to let me go. You have to promise immediately to let me go. So I have to go to the theater right away, and Wilbur and I can be out of this town. We can go away. But you have to promise, or I won't tell you anything.
I tell her, well, fuck. I don't think she's the leader of this group, so I'm willing to make that deal.
Okay.
But under the condition that she confirms it all with Linus under a zone of truth.
Okay. Give me half a moment. I'm gonna go grab a Pepsi and drain the lizard real quick, and then we will continue. Like, he's interrogating a teenage girl, like, right away. That's weird.
I know, right?
Okay, but she might be an assassin.
That's
so
true.
That's fine.
All right, so
it's just an anime.
Give me 2 minutes. Everybody go pee real quick, and we will resume this as soon as I get back.
Yay, P!
Yay, anime. Wait, no, the other thing.
So is Brick Road gone?
Maybe,
Sure.
I don't know.
Alright, so the ritual I cast before was I was swapping out my fairy dragon with an actual hawk, so that at some point I can just say, I have my hawk go do something, and in front of the groundskeeper. And Brick would go, he notices fairy dragon, and I go, no he doesn't, because the ritual I cast was to swap him to a hawk.
That's court disaster there, buddy. It's hilarious, but it's court disaster.
I feel it is much safer that way to swap him out, even if I don't end up having to do something foolish like that. I just thought it would be much funnier to not tell him.
Okay, and back on tonight's episode of Eldove is Mean to Teenagers.
We were having fun laughing behind your back, Brickroad, don't worry.
Good.
Literally the first words I said were, okay, has Brickroad left yet?
So, as she pleads with you, she says, if I tell you anything, you have to promise to let me go immediately. I have to get Wilbur and leave right away.
And I say in response, agreed, so long as you come to the Theater of Mystic Celebration and confirm all this with Linus Harpstring under a Zone of Truth. But when we go there, you can pick up Wilbur and then leave. It would probably be best if you did.
One of these days I'll have all these spell lists memorized.
Why?
Just for ease of use.
Because that sounds like a whole lot of effort to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't dedicate that many brain cells to it.
Well, eventually it'll happen just through osmosis after I've played this game for 5 years.
And then 6th edition will be out, and it'll be terrible.
Yay!
At the mention of Linus and Zone of Truth, Armax speaks up. He says, wouldn't it be better if we took care of that here at the castle? I could summon Tellish. That would be a spell he has access to.
The thing is, I don't think that Tellish would be willing to let her go afterwards.
Armax nods. This is probably right. So I don't know a way to get her out to the theater without anybody making note.
Would anyone have a problem with her just leaving during the middle of the day?
I could send her on some errand. If she left with you, people would notice. If she left on her own, there's no guarantee she would go to the theater. And at that, I mean, Holga says, no, I promise I'll go there straight away. I'll meet you there. I'll be there right away.
I tell Holga, as long as you watch and make sure she doesn't do anything in the castle other than leave, I'll leave first and go to the theater, and then if she doesn't leave, we have her boyfriend. And
Holga, you see, like, sadness on her face at the mention of that, like, sincere. She says, what would you do to him?
Nothing. Well, that would be up to the local authorities, but they don't seem to be treating that man in the stocks outside too kindly.
She says, did you know a Tiefling woman bought all the tomatoes? She's there right now still winging them at him. She's been doing it for hours. It's a wretched thing. And she begins pleading on Wilbur's behalf, saying, you know, he's done nothing wrong. There's no need to involve him in any more of this.
Well, as long as you tell us what you know and then show up at the theater, nothing will happen to him.
She says there.
You are planning to go to the theater, right? I mean, you just said you were.
She says, I can confirm there's an Assassin's Guild. And at this, Armax, like, she doesn't look surprised very much, but she looks a little bit scared. Like, this confirms something that she's kind of been afraid of. And Holga says, I don't know who any of them are. I work as a spy for them. I pass information along, but it's through written notes. I don't know any of their identities.
I had to find the useless assassin.
I received word that I could be paid 20 pieces of gold if I managed to get my hands on a certain object. They knew that I had a boyfriend at the theater. I don't know how they knew, but they knew. And 20 gold is a lot of money. And I didn't want to work for them anymore. It was too dangerous. I was afraid. But I could take the money, and I met with Wilbur, and I told him that I would have the money, and we could leave together and be free of all of it. And
Do you have any suspicions about who any of the assassins are?
She shakes her head, and very nervously. She says, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Someone in the castle. It would have to be someone in the castle. She says, but I know there's another spy. I know there's another spy. He works out of Abraham's Inn. I could tell you who he is.
Who is he?
And she looks over at Lady Armax. Says, Lady Armax, I'm so sorry that I couldn't tell you, but it's Glammy, the barkeep that shares Lady Armax's book. He's one of the spies. He works for the guild, but he doesn't know any more than I do. He says, but any of you who are staying at the inn, anybody who's been at that inn in the past year, at least, Glammy would have passed their information on to the guild. The assassins know who you are, where you're staying, what you're doing at all times.
Alright.
And at this mention, like, Armax is, like, she looks devastated. Like, her student is a spy for the assassins. Apparently, her mage friend in town is a spy for assassins. Like, everything's coming crashing down.
Everything's coming up assassins.
And I'm just going to say, and you don't know about any assassins, such as, and then I'm just going to list a couple of random names, but then also the people that I have suspicions of, and see if her eyes, like, flicker at any of them.
Roll an insight check. And which suspects are you going to mention in your list of names?
That's a 20, and
Okay.
I'm going to list the groundskeeper's name, Captain Basmar,
Okay.
a couple random people in town, like just as like a thing.
Okay.
Shit, was there someone else we had the suspicion of? I feel like there was.
As far as I know, Lothar, Basmar, Rogan was
Rogan.
the other one.
That was the other one, and Rogan as well.
And she knows the names, Basmar, Rogan. She knows the names that you're listing, but, I mean, you don't see a flicker of anything.
Okay, so she has no...
If she's trying to protect any of these assassins that you suspect, like, she's doing an excellent job of it. And you don't think she's in the emotional state right now to put on a
Hide
front
it.
for you. So, I mean, it looks like she's being sincere when she says she doesn't know any of their identities.
I'm going to ask her how she was recruited to start spying.
She says, I received a letter. I received a note. She said that
She's...
I could provide information, I could receive gold, and it was after a year of doing this, just questions, just spying on various people coming in and out of town, and I noticed after a while that some of the information that I had, they would ask me to learn about someone's movements in town, and I would relay the information, and a few days later that person would have disappeared, and would not have been seen again. She says, truthfully, it wasn't until very recently, when I heard the king had been assassinated, that I even thought I may be mixed up with this guild.
In the course of your spying, have you seen anyone who you suspect to be an assassin?
And she looks at Armax, and then she looks back at you and says, I could suspect anybody equally. I don't know who to trust. That's why I want to leave town. I want to collect Wilbur and take my money and leave this place.
Alright, well, she doesn't seem to know shit. So, I'm gonna say that's all I feel like we can get for now. We might be able to think of a couple more questions when we're at the theater, but for now, I recommend you just send her out on an errand, and I'll be waiting at the theater.
Armax says, I have a better idea.
Okay.
She says, I don't think we should let her out of our sight. And I don't know that we could trust her to the guards. But I know what we can do. What is room number 35 on this map? Give me just 1 second to look this up.
And then, more importantly, are there any hats in there? Put a hat on her and disguise her.
Ooh, I have to check the wizard spell list one more time.
Wizard.
Wizard.
With two Z's.
Sauber.
Neither of the games I'm playing in, anybody is playing a wizard. It's kind of strange.
Wizards are trash, that's why. Wizards are nerds, sorcerers are jocks.
Okay. But invisibility is on the wizard spell list. She casts invisibility on you and Holga. And she leads you out of the room, down south through the twists of tunnels. And instead of turning left back towards the stairwell, she turns right. And she takes out a key and opens up a door. And she enters into a very large laboratory. A large room with numerous shelves along the walls. There are just bottles of liquids and containers, alchemy supplies, these sorts of things. And she moves to the southern... Is it the southern end of the room? I'm not even sure.
And this is where Armax reveals she's an assassin and I get murdered.
You do. You get murdered and it's awful. No, she moves to the far end of the room. Underneath one of the shelves, and she ducks down under it, and she reaches forward and touches one of the bricks in the wall. And it glows very briefly, and then part of the wall slides backwards and to the side. So this is a passage into and out of the castle. As far as I know, only 4 of us know about it. The Lady Mayor, her advisor Tellish, myself, and Askew, the captain of the guard. We're the only ones that would have a key to this room. She points, says, if you exit out this passage, the tunnel will take you into the woods, off to the side of the keep. And she's indicating these woods over here.
Okay.
She says, take the passage out there, and then it's a short walk to the theater. Nobody should see you. Try to avoid any guards on the way. My invisibility spell won't last long once you've entered the passage.
I ask her how long her invisibility lasts and whether she can cast it again.
It's a standard invisibility spell, so I think 10 minutes.
Actually, regular invisibility is an hour.
Is an hour? Oh, you're right. It's an hour. But it's a lot easier to break.
Yeah.
And also, they will be leaving the range of her spell much earlier.
I ask if she can cast it again.
Oh, never mind. It's a range of touch, so they actually can't leave the range of the spell.
Yeah.
Why would she need to cast it again?
Because I want to cast Alarm here, so that I will know if someone uses this passage.
That's kind of a cool spell. Oh, it only lasts for 8 hours, though. Alarm.
But I think shit might go down and within the next 8 hours, so...
Gotcha. A mental alarm alerts you with a ping in your mind if you're within 1 mile of the warded area. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, so I cast that, and then we head out.
Okay. And you head down this long passage, and it slopes downward
And
slightly.
wait 1 second. I'm just gonna write down on a notepad. What were those 3 names who knew about this passage? Because this is a passage inside and out of the castle in a guild of assassins.
The Lady Mayor, Arnes, her advisor, Tellish, the priest, the mage you were speaking to, Arnax, and the head of the guard, Askew.
I don't trust any of them anymore.
As far as Armax knows, only those 4 people know anything about this passage.
Okay. What about our spy here? Does she seem surprised by the passage?
Holga?
Yeah.
She's never seen it before in her life. She's never been in this room.
Okay.
And yeah, the passage kind of twists and turns for a while. It's kind of dank. And it exits out into these woods down here. The entrance on the outside would be imperceptible. Unless you knew exactly where it was, there would be no way to find it again. If you have an intent to find this passage again, make me a quick nature check.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not nature, survival. That would encompass tracking or whatnot. If you fail this check, you'll have to mark this area in some way if you want to be able to find it again.
Okay. But I'll know whether I failed it or not before I decide whether to mark it?
Yeah. If you pass this roll, it'll be easy to find again regardless.
I'm probably going to fail.
That's a fail. You're looking for DC 15. So if you're going to have to mark this area somehow if you want to be able to find this entrance again. Because it opens just directly into the hill. in an area.
Oh, but it's on the hill?
Yeah, it's going into the side of the hill. The hill slopes up to where the keep is sitting. But if you leave this place, you're not going to be able to find it again without doing something to mark it.
What kind of hill is it? Is it a rocky hill or grassy?
No, it's a grassy hill. Because you can actually see on the map that the little forested areas grow up onto the hill. So you're down here right now.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
If I summon my familiar to memorize it, would they have a better chance at it?
No.
Okay. Then in that case, I am going to...
Going to quiet.
Yeah, I'm reading illusory script to see if it makes any sense here for this. Alternately, you can cause the writing to appear to be an entirely different message and in a different hand. No, that doesn't make any sense, because if I'm going to make it a bit, unless I can make that message be nothing.
Damn it. There were supposed to be zombies in that tunnel. Oh well, there are... No zombies.
Wait, there are zombies in that tunnel?
There were supposed to be, but I forgot, so we're going to skip the zombies.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you carrying a 16-year-old girl through a freaking zombie cave. That sounds like an exciting time.
She's an assassin. She'll be fine.
She's not an assassin. She's a spy for the assassin. She's actually a level 1 wizard.
That's fine.
They're only zombies.
Assassin was actually a character class in 1st edition, so...
It's a prestige class in 3rd.
Actually, it's a rogue archetype in 5th. You have the assassin, the thief, and the arcane trickster.
Yep.
I am going to...
So you actually emerged from a trapdoor in the hillside, but the top of the trapdoor is grassy and covered in soil. So once you close it again, it'll be impossible to find unless you mark it.
Alright, I'm not going to mark straight on it, so I might need to do some searching afterwards.
Okay.
But so that I can find the general area,
okay,
I'm just going to make a small divot, maybe about, 30 feet away.
Look for the zombies.
In what direction?
30 feet. Straight up the hill.
Straight up the hill?
Straight up the hill.
Okay. And what kind of mark are you actually making? Are you, digging something into the soil, or...?
Yeah, I'm just going to... Because there's not any, real dead grass over there. I'm just going to... kind of dig it up a little bit so that it's just a little disturbed.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to search for that later, but it'll be easier to find where it would have been virtually impossible before.
Yeah.
And you take her straight to the theater? What's everybody else doing at this point?
Where are we now? Oh, it's afternoon. I've done my afternoon action. Okay.
Khalil where was he? He's still back at the ship. All right. He's just kind of sulking after getting an earful from the guards about bringing them all the way the hell out over there. And
okay.
He's just kind of shit.
Bringing Holga to the theater is going to be Eldove's evening action. So let's go ahead and get evening actions down on the list now.
I feel like I should tweet Destil and say, I need you to show up for 5 seconds to send a message to everyone.
So, Khalil, evening.
Evening. What's the tenor on the ship like right now?
It's very scared, actually, because Evander and the Dragon Powder are gone. And there's no leads whatsoever to where they may have gone off to.
Yeah, okay. Gee, if only I had somebody who had contacts with the Thieves Guild hanging around. That would be really helpful.
Yeah, that'd be useful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the investigation is going rather well without access to your rogue this week. I think you all are making really good progress.
What day is it?
Well, Khalil doesn't really care about this murder shit. He cares about this explosive barrel falling into nefarious hands.
Right now it's Wednesday, and
Was it Thursday? I think it's Thursday.
Yeah, I
I thought it was Thursday too.
it is Thursday. You're right. It's Thursday.
Because I'm working on my sermon.
Because it is Thursday, and the module says that most players will not have solved the mystery by Sunday. So I would say we're making good progress.
Oh.
All right then. It's just there's no leads, and Khalil just can't think of anything else to do with this.
No, and it's really, really bugging him.
It is.
I got good news, Khalil. How do you feel about arresting the captain of the guard, the high priest, and the lady mayor?
Well, that sounds exciting, but I'm not there.
Oh, tabletop just crashed for me.
Awesome. So yeah, Khalil, evening action. Whoop.
Evening action.
We'll make this easy on Eldove. It would be effortless to send the messages out to the other PCs if you want them present at the theater.
I want them fucking present at the theater.
Well, then
Okay,
you all do
I
receive a
guess
message.
that's what
for
we're
that
doing
evening.
tonight then.
If we just want to really simplify that, there's no reason to agonize over it.
Yeah.
Which one is the theory? It's this one.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, it's the work. I just moved Khalil to it.
And of course, Fred is still there.
Yeah, Orphan will go too.
What's
Okay.
the name of the theater again?
The Theater of Mystic Celebration.
And who's
Thank
the
you.
proprietor of the theater?
I don't remember. His name escapes me.
I think
You
his
won't
name
get
is like
XP.
Elton John or some shit like that.
Elton John.
Elton John.
So, it's a couple of hours before showtime when you go back and you bring Helga, and she's clearly still agitated the whole way. And when Wilbur sees that Eldove has brought Holga in, like, he immediately runs up and looks at Eldove, and he kind of like puffs out his chest a little bit and says, "What is it you're doing?"
I say, why don't you ask Holga?
And Holga says, "Wilbur, it'll be fine. It'll all be okay. We're almost through it." And Wilbur just he looks very confused, and Holga says, "Remember what we spoke about the other night? We're almost out of here."
Oh, this is terrible.
Wilbur's not going to be fucking
Terrible.
confused. Wilbur was all into this plan. He thought
he
it was a great
was.
idea.
But he doesn't know what she spoke about with you the other night. And he's kind of confused about the whole situation regardless. So, Linus agrees to get the Zone of Truth back up, and they put the hot seat back out. Holga sits down in it. And he makes the spotlight come down, and she looks very terrified.
I'm gonna keep watch at one of the doors to just make sure that no one comes in while they're being interrogated.
Phoenix Wright interrogation music kicks in.
How many psych locks does she have?
And
Berker hasn't
Holga
played later Phoenix Wright games.
repeats the same story that you
Worst
heard.
person.
She received information through notes only. She doesn't know the identities of any of the assassins, and she was paid a considerable sum of gold to retrieve the golden harp string. She was not told why they wanted it. The only thing she saw was the amount of gold that she was going to get, and she saw her way out.
And she has no suspicions.
She really doesn't. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, if you put the grill to her about anybody in particular, she just doesn't know. And she even points out, she says, "And nobody knew what I was doing either. And I'm not an assassin. I don't have the set of skills that these people must have. If I avoided detection for this long, it must have been simple for them."
Okay, and I just ask one last question.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen anybody act possibly on information that you had relayed?
She says, "No. But there were several times where the information that I relayed, usually on a traveler who come through town, and that traveler would disappear very suddenly."
What sorts of travelers?
And she shakes her head, and she says one time it was a a trapper from the woods. Another time it was a traveling priest to some god I didn't recognize.
Nodal, did you give us the lowdown on...
You know everything.
Okay.
I want
Alright.
to see the letter.
So, why... So, what do they know about us?
So, Arik asked to see a
That's
letter.
Yeah, the letter that they gave her.
She says, I was always instructed to burn them. I did not keep any of them. That would have been
Steal.
foolish. And Khalil asked, what?
What do they know about us?
And she looks pained when she answers. She says, Glammy, the barkeep at the House of Abraham, is a spy, much like me. Anything you all have talked about at the inn, any conversations you've had, anything you've done in your rooms, Glammy would know. Which means the assassins would know.
Ew, Nodal! I'm just kidding. Khalil will not be happy about that.
But is Khalil ever happy about anything?
Exactly.
And she looks at Eldove after the interrogation ends, and she says, and you don't suspect Lady Armax. You don't think that she's one of them.
I don't think that she would have turned you in if she was.
This Linus chimes up. So I'd rather imagine she would. All the better to cover her own tracks, don't you think?
From what I could tell, she was genuinely shocked by all these events.
Shocked and maybe a little sickened. Like you were
Yeah.
confirming fears that she had for a long time. But it's impossible to be sure.
I'm pretty sure she's not.
And she looks
Like,
relieved
as sure as
when
possible.
Holga looks relieved when you say that.
So then our next step, I think we should interrogate Glammy as well.
Actually, I have a better idea. I think that we should all decide one of the assassins that we think, one of the people in town that we think is an assassin, and then have a nice discussion in our rooms about it.
That's an
So
interesting.
you're suggesting that we use ourselves as bait to flush them out?
It's not a bad idea.
Not bad at all. Except for the parts where it's extremely terrible, but
We're gonna have to deal with these assassins at some point. We might as well come to them while we're expecting them.
What do you do
If
as
they
far as
even
Holga
exist.
is concerned? Like, if you're done with the interrogation, Linus drops the Zone of Truth spell. Do you keep your word?
Yes, but I want someone to make sure that she actually does plan on leaving. So I think we should send someone out after her. Probably
Zook.
our monk here who can run like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Just follow her to a decent distance. Don't let her know that you're following, and make
I'm sure.
sure.
I assume we're telling her that if that's the case, then we're discussing this in private rather than with her sitting right there.
Yeah.
Don't tell her we're leaving. I'm right here, you know.
Holga and Wilbur, if you guys allow them to leave, they do so immediately. Linus allows Wilbur to gather up all his belongings, bids them best of luck. He's very moved at the level of romance displayed between these two young people and everything they've put on the line with their love for each other. And they do. They set off north.
I'll follow it.
While she was under the zone of proof, by the way, we were talking about her plans on leaving. She wasn't lying when she said she was going to leave, right?
She was not. In fact, that seemed to be her plan all along. It seemed like she got the word 20 gold pieces in return for this golden harp string, and she saw that 20 gold pieces as her way
Her
out.
ticket out of it.
She didn't see any other way to cease operations being a spy for this guild, even though she desperately wanted to.
Okay, so I don't know how far you actually need to go, Nick, so don't waste too much time on it.
Yeah, I'll go up to about 13. I'll follow them at least that far.
Well, that's not even... They would leave over along the coast here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll follow them to the edge of the map then.
Yeah, and they're both gone. They're gone.
Okay, so then I'll go report back to the others. Where do you guys want to meet after? Do you want to go back to the rooms and have this, conversation?
Yes. However, I don't think we should all be there, because I think that might be seen as suspicious. So do any of you not feel confident in your acting talents?
Fred feels very confident in his acting talents.
Oh, Fred is staying in my room, so he is more than welcome.
Actually, Fred has been staying at the theater.
Right, but he does have some of his shit in my room.
Okay.
I only remember because I snubbed Orphan to let Fred stay in the room.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that now. Yeah.
What a dick move.
Fred's the best. Orphan understands.
So the plan is to go back to the inn and have a very overt conversation about what you know, like a very obvious. So anybody spying on you would pick it up. Do I have this correct?
Yeah.
Yes, but I just want to make sure with Fred that he knows not to be too outrageous about this.
Fred insists that he will be the exact right amount of outrageous. Fred is very attuned to the correct level of outrageous in any given circumstance.
You know what? That's true. So, in fact, maybe it should just be me and Fred, because we're staying in the same room.
Yeah, that would probably make most sense.
So what is everybody else's plans for tonight?
And then the rest of us could hang out surreptitiously in the next room.
Yeah, and I'll be listening for any signs of trouble in their room.
Okay.
How many
Alright,
alarms can I
sounds good.
cast at one time?
What does Arik do during all this?
Yeah, he's got a sermon to prepare for tomorrow.
No, he's prepared the sermon. That's
Yeah,
what he was
that
doing
was
for his
his
afternoon.
afternoon
It was
after,
my
yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah.
No, he's joining the group in eavesdropping.
We're
Doing
sorry
your
we won't
glasses.
have our guest. We won't have our guest Amelie tomorrow because he got killed by assassins last night.
So who is with Arik in his room?
I'll be there with him.
Okay.
So Khalil is with Arik in his room?
Aren't you staying with Orphan?
I thought it's going to be essentially the rest of us listening in.
No, Zook is staying with me.
Okay. Well, I have complete confidence in Orphan's ability to listen.
So Arik is in there with Orphan and Khalil?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys return to the inn, go right up to your rooms. Not 5 minutes after you arrive, Arik, there's a rap on the door. Very lightly.
Huh. Okay. I go and I open the door crack.
You open the door crack and look out, and you see Falpier standing there. And he's holding his cap in his hand, and he's ringing it very nervously. And he looks at you when he opens, and says, Brother Arik, I'm not sure if I should speak to you, but I've got to speak to someone.
Why did you sick the boy on me?
Lisa.
Speak up, lad. What is it?
He says, Can I come in?
I sort of look at Orphan and Khalil.
Wait, are we in my room?
Well, he went
I
to
assume-
Eric's room. I don't know who all is
Okay.
in. I thought all three of you were in that room because you'd be next to where Eldove and Fred are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, I thought Orphan was in her room.
Yeah.
So Orphan's in a one room. Eric and Khalil are in the second room.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so just Khalil's in there with you then.
All right. Come on in, lad. Come on in.
He comes in. You close the door behind him. He says, "They say, Mr. Abraham, they say he's done awful things. They're saying he's wanted for killing the king."
Oh, you troubled lad. It's all just rumors right now. We're working to get to the bottom of it.
And he shakes his head and says, "No, it's my fault. It's my fault that he's in trouble. You don't understand. It's all my fault."
I don't understand. What do you mean it's your fault?
Says a little man who lives at the castle. He looks like me, but he's as old as you. He told me he'd pay me 2 silver pieces if I brought him Mr. Abraham's button off of his vest.
Gnomes are creepy as shit.
Says 2 silver bits. That's a lot of money. And I'm sorry, but I did it. God help me, but I did it. I was doing the wash and I broke off the button and I told Mr. Abraham that I'd lost it. But I didn't. I sold it to the funny little man. And now Mr. Abraham's in all this trouble. And I fear it's my fault.
Young man, you didn't know what was going on, so you can hardly be held at fault for that.
Listen, lad, it's quite alright. You didn't know what you were doing, you didn't know what you were involved in. Just go to the church, make sure you pray, make sure you pray. You told us, you confessed to us. That's all very good. But as long as you go to the church and repent for what you've done, all will be okay.
He says, and go to the Church of Osprey.
Yes.
And that
You
they
will
can
feel better.
But will it help Mr. Abraham? Will it help bring Mr. Abraham back?
I hate you so much.
Don't repent to the groundskeeper.
Especially don't repent to him and tell him who you confess to.
Yeah, that's a very bad idea. We will do what we can to make everything right. I say as neutrally as possible, without promising him anything, but while trying to inspire hope.
He reaches into the pockets of his breeches and he pulls out 2 silver coins. So I didn't spend the money yet. Honest, I didn't. And he throws it down on the ground in front of you. Says, I don't even want it anymore. I'd give it back, but I don't know where the little man is. I don't even want the money. I just want Mr. Abraham back safely.
Just give it to the church. It will be fine.
And he nods and gathers the coins back up and puts them back in the pocket of his breeches.
In fact, we should go together.
No.
Are you fucking real?
I don't
Are you
want
fucking real, dude?
I don't want
Orphan.
to get hurt or in trouble.
A slip of paper pops under your door.
Alright, I pick it up and read it.
Open it up.
In trouble.
It's
and
not a
hurt, and
note.
I don't want that.
It's a very crude map of Garreton and the hills surrounding it. And it shows a circle in the center of these woods here.
Okay.
And it's just circled in red ink. And next to it, it's displaying a picture of the full moon.
Okay.
And it's signed just with the letter P and a dot.
I leave my room and I tell Khalil I have to go.
Khalil's
so
in
for him,
the room with Arik. Khalil's not with you.
Right,
You're
right.
alone.
That's what I'm saying. I leave my room and I go
Okay.
I go tell Khalil that that I won't be available to back him up if anything happens.
Arik,
Are you too fucking real?
while you're talking,
Wait, is it even a full moon tonight?
while you're putting this young child at ease, you hear another rap on your door. And the boy turns around, like, very frightened.
It's
Put my hand on my
Osprey. He's
sword.
coming for you, boy.
Khalil draws his sword.
No, I just put my hand on my sword. I don't draw it.
I go over to the door and I open it a crack.
And Orphan is standing outside the door.
Khalil's Arik.
I will breathe a sigh of relief and let go of my sword.
Exasperated sigh, and we open the door.
Sorry, something's come up. I have to go. Make sure the 2 of you stay here to watch for in case anything happens.
But I can't. I have to escort
In no time,
the
I
boy.
have to go.
Okay. So how much noise is this all making?
You hear doors opening and closing and being knocked outside.
Like it's some weird French comedy.
Like Scooby and the gang chase the villain into one door and then come out the other door with like an ambulance.
I look at Fred and I'm just like, what?
I will.
Fred stands up and goes
I will
over.
sit right back down in the chair and just put my head in my hands for a minute.
Fred stands up, goes to the door, opens up, looks outside, and sees Orphan standing there. Sees Arik poking his head out the door. Turns back to Eldove. So something's up.
I'm just going to deliver the boy to the church. I'll make sure he's in the right hands.
Wait, you're gonna do what with the boy?
I'm delivering him to the
that is
church.
awful,
We're going
Nodal.
on the Moonlight Walk.
Now, can we just all, please, for the love of God, can we just like all admit that we're better than making a Catholic joke? Can we just not even go there? Can we just be above that tonight?
Here's the thing.
I know we're all thinking it a lot.
I don't think we're all above that. Is the problem?
No, we're really not.
All right, so what happens next? Orphan says, and so Fred and
Orphan's
Eldove
gone,
would hear this in the room. She said very quickly, I have to go right now, and she starts leaving. And Fred looks back to Eldove as she leaves, like, what does Eldove want to do?
Well, you know what? Fuck it. If she wants to go off, she can go off. I don't see any reason why that
Okay.
needs to interrupt our plans.
Okay? And what about Arik and Khalil?
Khalil will just shake his head and then just sit right back down in the chair and keep an ear out.
And then Arik takes the young boy to the church?
No. I'm going to take him to the theater instead, because I
Wait,
don't
where are
trust
you taking him?
to the theater. Because I
So
don't
you all
trust the
told
church.
us you were going to take this young boy to the church, and then now you're going somewhere. All right.
Bring the young boy to Linus! He will teach him such wondrous things!
God, really, Brickroad, you didn't have to do that, but you did anyway.
I did, but it wasn't a Catholic joke, so...
That is true.
Orphan, where do you go?
Because if there's
Well,
assassins
see,
at the
here's
church,
the
I don't want to
thing.
take the boy
Well,
to a church.
Osperm is the god of semen.
Oh.
God damn it!
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Where does Orphan go?
So this is the evening
Nodal
action,
goes
right?
to
This
hell.
Well, your evening action was that you were going to sit in their room and listen, but then a note
Right.
flitted under your door.
So is tonight a full moon? Can I see the moon in the sky?
It is a full moon.
Alright, so I will go off to the spot kind of marked. on
Alone, without telling
Alone.
anybody where you're going.
the map. Yeah.
This is a great idea.
Oh yeah.
So, Arik, going to the church with the young boy? Yes, no? Or going to the theater, you said?
The theater with the kid, yes.
And the other... Khalil, you're staying in your room. Eldove, you're staying in your room with Fred, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Orphan, you go into the woods, just outside of town, and you go to the spot that was prescribed, and it's very dark. You have dark vision, so it's a little easier for you to see. But there's no trails or paths into these woods. But you get to the center, and you get to an open clearing. And on the far side of the clearing, you make out the shadow of a man sitting on something on the ground, a tree stump or a log. It's difficult to make out in the darkness. But he's facing away from you, looking into the woods opposite you. And he's just sitting there.
So we're pretty far from. I can hear the pork snaggins. We're pretty far from town at this point, right?
Oh yeah, you're pretty far from town.
So I'll just call out across the clearing. Is that you, Pretty? What is his name? Pretty?
Priska, assuming that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
What do you?
Pretty, okay.
Where do you go as far in the clearing? Because the clearing is. I actually have the measurements of the clearing. Hold on a second.
Of course.
Do you know how
course I
many
do.
hats are in the clearing?
How many hats are in the clearing?
Is there a young boy playing the flute on a stump in the clearing?
How many magic items is Priska wearing?
So the
How many
clearing
magic
is like
items is the young boy
relatively
wearing?
large. It's about 90 feet across. So if you're standing at just the edge of the clearing and you want to talk so the guy can hear you, you would have to holler pretty loud.
Okay. I'll go around the edge of the clearing until I'm about 40 feet away.
About 40 feet away.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what?
So and you know, speak out loud so that he can hear me. Priska, is that you?
Okay. And you say, Priska, is that you? And the shape turns its head, and as soon as he does, you can see it's Priska's face. and he shouts out, "No, turn and run!" And as soon as he gets that out, he gets lit up with arrows.
Oh, fuck.
So the beginning of next session, you're going to have to fight this encounter, which I intended for the whole group, but Orphan's alone. Won't that be
You
fun?
sent a little
Here's the
boy
thing.
on me, dude.
You have
what did
no
you want
idea
me to
how
do?
fast Orphan can run.
Yeah.
That's true. So you say, Priska, is that you? And he turns around and he tries to shout a warning, but no sooner does he get his mouth open, and you see his chest just fills with arrows. And you can see, when you look, his hands are actually bound behind his back, and he's been knelt down on this tree stump that his legs have been lashed to. And you have been lured into a trap.
Alright. At least I'm not in the middle of the clearing, I guess.
No, you're at the edge of the clearing.
Yeah.
In fact, I have this clearing on Immigrant. I can show you what it looks like.
Alright, yeah, let's see that. I mean, assuming you don't need to use this map. Are we going to do the rest of the other guys?
No, that was the end of the session. That was it.
Oh, okay.